from 6:11, 6 verses. Eagerly sacrifice thou, most skilful Agni priest, pressing on as if the Marutas sent thee. To our oblation bring the two Nasatyas, Mitra and Varuna, in earth and heaven. Thou art our guileless, most delightful herald, the god among mankind of holy synods, a priest with purifying tongue, O Agni, sacrifice with thy mouth to thine own body, for even the blessed longing that is in thee would bring the gods down to the singer's worship. When the Angirasas's sagest sage, the poet, sings the sweet measure at the solemn service, bright hath he beamed the wise, the far refulgent, worship the two wide-spreading worlds, O Agni, whom as the living one, rich in oblations, the 5 tribes, bringing gifts, adorn with homage. When I with reverence clip the grass for Agni, when the trimmed ladle full of oil is lifted, firm on the seat of earth is base the altar. I like the sacrifice is directed sunward, enrich us, O thou priest in many aspects, with the gods. Agni, with thy fires enkindled, O son of strength, clad in the robe of riches, may we escape from woe as from a prison. And in some of the Upanishads, we have this mentioned with sun door, and your typical glyph for the sun is a circle with a dot in the middle. 6:12 Agni, 6 verses. King of trimmed grass, herald within the dwelling, may Agni worship the impeller's world halves. He, son of strength, the holy from a distance, hath spread himself abroad with light like Surya. In thee most wise shall Yaus, for full perfection, king, holy one, pronounced the call to worship, found in 3 places, like the speeder's footstep, come to present men's riches as oblations, whose blaze most splendid, sovereign in the forest, shines waxing on his way like the impeller. He knows himself like a guileless smelter, not to be stayed among the plants, immortal. Our friends extol him like a steed for rigor, even Agni in the dwelling, Jeptavedas, 3-fed. He fights with power as doth a champion, like Dawn's sire to be praised with sacrifices. Men wonder at his shining blows, when, paring the woods with ease, o'er the broad earth he goeth, and like a rushing flood, loosed quickly, burneth swift as a guilty thief o'er desert places. So mighty thou protectest us from slander. O champion Agni, with all fires enkindled, bring opulence and drive away affliction. May brave sons gladden us through 100 winters. Now some people I don't think understand why I recently have defended myself from slanderous claims. Because if you're silent, that implies guilt, right? And one has the right to defend oneself. But I think some of it has become clear because, there's so-called reasons where no logical person would say, wait a second, you didn't support any of that behavior, let alone do it, right? In 6:13, Agni, 6 verses. From thee as branches from a tree, O Agni, from thee, auspicious God, spring all our blessings. Wealth, swiftly, strength in battle with our foemen, the rain besought of heaven, the flow of waters. Thou art our Banka, the sent wealth, thou dwellest, like circumambient air, with wondrous splendor. Friend art thou of the lofty law, like Mitra, controller, Agni, god of many a blessing. Agni the hero slays with might his foeman, the singer bears away Pandas' booty. Even he whom thou, sage born in law, incitest by wealth, accordant with the child of waters, the man who, son of strength, high with sacrifices, hymns, lauds, attracts thy fervor to the altar, enjoys each precious thing, O God, O Agni, brings wealth of corn, grain, and is the Lord of treasures. Grant, son of strength, to men for their subsistence, such things as bring high fame and hero children, for thou with might givest much food and cattle, even to the wicked wolf when he is hungry. Eloquent, son of strength, most mighty, Agni, vouchsafest seed and offspring, full of vigor. May I, by all my songs, obtain abundance. May brave sons gladden us through 100 winters. And if we all pray for and act towards producing a generation full of heroes, it may happen, and it will certainly happen that more people will be heroes. Hymn 614, 6 verses. Whoso to Agni hath endeared his thought and service by his hymns, that mortal cats before the rest, and finds sufficiency for food. Agni in truth is passing wise, most skilled in ordering a seer. At sacrifices, Manus's sons glorify Agni as their priest. The foeman's wealth in many a place, Agni is emulous to help. Men fight the fiend and seek by rights to overcome the rightless foe. Agni bestows the hero chief, winner of waters, firm and fray. Soon as they look upon his might, his enemies tremble in alarm. For with his wisdom, Agni, God protects the mortal from reproach, whose conquering wealth is never checked in deeds of might. O Agni, God with Mitra's might, call hither the favor of the gods from earth and heaven. Bring wheel from heaven, that men may dwell securely. May we overcome the foes' modern oppressions. May we overcome them. Through thy help, overcome them. Regardless of our own efforts, there is a spiritual reality present. 6:15, Agni, 19 verses. With this my song I strive to reach this guest of yours, who wakes at early morning, the Lord of all the tribes. Each time he comes from heaven, the pure one from of old, from ancient days, the child cats, everlasting food, whom tended well the Berriedale, established as a friend, whom men must glorify, high flaming in the wood. As such, most friendly thou art, every day extolled in mods by Vita, O thou wondrous God. Be thou the foeless helper of the skilful man, subduer of the enemy near or far away. Bestow a wealthy home on men, O son of strength, give Vita riches, spreading far and wide. Give Varadvaja wide-spreading wealth. Him, your refulgent guest, Agni, who comes from heaven, the herald of mankind, well skilled in sacred rites, who, like a holy singer, utters heavenly words, oblation bearer, envoy, God I seek with hymns, who, with his purifying eye, attracting form, hath shone upon the earth as with the light of dawn, who, speeding on as in the fight of Atasa, cometh, untouched by age, as one athirst in heat. Worship ye Agni, Agni with your log of wood. Praise your beloved guest with songs. Invite ye the immortal hither with your hymns. A god among the gods, he loveth what is choice, loveth our service, God mid gods. Agni inflamed with fuel, in my song I sing, pure, cleanser, steadfast, set in front at sacrifice. Wise Vedas, we implore with prayers for bliss, the priest, the holy singer, bounteous, for his guile. Men, Agni, in each age have made thee, deathless one, their envoy, offering bearer, guard adorable. With reverence, gods and mortals have established thee ever watchful. With reverence, gods and mortals establish thee ever watchful. Omnipresent household Lord, thou Agni, ordering the works and ways of both, as envoy of the gods, traverseth both the worlds. When we lay claim to thy regard and gracious spirit, be thou to us a thrice protecting, friendly guard. To him fair face, rapid very wise. May we who know not follow. Let him who knows all rules invite for worship. Agni, announce our offering to the immortals. Him, Agni, thou deliverest and savest, who brings him prayer to thee, the wise, the hero. The end of sacrifice are its inception, yea, thou endowest him with power and riches. Guard us from him who would assail us, Agni, preserve us, O thou victor, from dishonor. Here let the place of darkening come upon thee. May wealth be ours, desirable in thousands. Agni the priest is king, lord of the homestead. He, Jetavedas, knows all generations. Most skillful worshipper mid gods and mortals, may he begin the sacrifice, the holy. Whatever today, thou bright-flamed priest, enjoyest from man's right, for thou art sacrificer, worship for duly dost thou spread in greatness. Bear thine offerings of today, most youthful. Look thou upon the viands duly laid for thee. Fain would he set thee here to worship heaven and earth. Help us, O liberal Agna, in the strife for spoil, so that we may o'ercome all things that trouble us. O'ercome them with thy help, together with all gods, O fair-faced Agna, beseated first upon the wool-lined altar, nest-like bedewed with oil. Bear this our worship to Savitar, who sacrifices rightly. Here the arranging priest, as did Atharvan, rub this Agna forth, whom not bewildered as he moved in winding ways, they brought from gloom. For the gods' banquet be thou born, for full perfection and for weal. Bring the immortal gods who strengthen holy law. So let our sacrifice reach the gods, O Agna, Lord and Master of men's homesteads. With kindled fuel we have made thee mighty. Let not our household gear be found defective. Sharpen us with thy penetrating splinter. And it's important to not be misled by the mere outward appearance. 6:16 Agna, 48 verses. Is this the longest one we've shared so far? Priest of all sacrifices, hadst thou been appointed by the gods, Agna, amid the race of man, so with thy joyous tongues for us sacrifice nobly in this rite. Bring thou the gods and worship them, for well, O God, disposer, thou knowest straight on the paths and ways, Agna most wise in sacrifice. Thee too hath Bharata of old with mighty men implored for bliss, and worship thee, the worshipful. Thou givest these abundant boons to Devodasa, pouring forth, to Bharadvaja, offering gifts. Do thou, immortal messenger, bring hither the celestial folk, hearing the singer's eulogy. Mortals with pious thoughts implore thee, Agna, God at holy rites, to come unto the feast of gods. I glorify thine aspect and the might of thee, the bountiful. All those who love shall joy in thee. Invoker, placed by Manus, thou Agna art near, the wisest priest. Pay worship to the tribes of heaven. Come, Agna, lauded to the feast. Come to the offering of the gifts. As priest, be seated on the grass. So, Angarasis, we make thee strong with fuel and with holy oil. Blaze high, thou youngest of the gods. For us thou winnest, Agna, God, heroic strength, exceeding great, far-spreading and of high renown. Agna, Atharvan, brought thee forth, by rubbing from the lotus flower the head of Visva the priest, thee, Vritra's slayer, breaker down of castles, hath Atharvan's son, Tatyach, the Risha, lighted up. The hero Papya kindled thee, the Dasyus, most destructive foe, winner of spoil in every fight. Come here, O Agna, I will sing merrily other songs to thee. And with these drops shalt thou grow strong. Where'er thy mind applies itself, vigor preeminent, base thou. There wilt thou gain a dwelling place. Not for a moment only lasts thy bounty, good to many a one. Our service, therefore, shalt thou gain. Agna, the Bharata, hath been sought, the Vritra slayer, marked of all. Yea, Devadasa's hero lord, for he gave riches that surpass in greatness all the things of earth, fighting untroubled, unsubdued. Thou, Agna, as in days of old, with recent glory gathered light, hast overspread the lofty heaven. Bring to your Agna, O my friends, boldly your laud and sacrifice. Give the disposer praise and song, for as sagacious herald he hath set through every age of man. Oblation-bearing messenger, bring those 2 kings whose ways are pure, Adityas, and the Marut host, excellent God and heaven and earth. For strong and active mortal man, excellent Agna is the look of the immortal Son of Strength, rich through his wisdom, noblest be the giver serving thee today. The man hath brought his hymn of praise. These, Agna, these are helped by thee, who strong and active all their lives overcome the malice of the foe, fight down the malice of the foe. May Agni with his pointed blaze cast down each fierce devouring fiend. May Agni win us wealth by war, O active Jatavedas, bringing riches with store of hero sons. Slay thou the demons, O most wise. Keep us, O Jatavedas, from the troubling of the man of sin. Guard us, thou sage who knowest prayer. Whatever sinner Agni brings oblations to procure our death, save us from woe that he would work. Drive from us with thy tongue, O God, the man who doeth evil deeds, the mortal who would strike us dead. Give shelter reaching far and wide to Bharadvaja, conquering Lord. Agni, send wealth most excellent. May Agni slay the Vritras, fain for riches, through the Lord of Song, served with oblation, kindled bright. His father's father, shining in his mother's everlasting side, set on the seat of holy law, O active Jatavedas, bringing devotion that wins progeny. Agni, that it may shine to heaven, O child of strength, to thee whose look is lovely. We with dainty food, O Agni, have poured forth our songs. To thee for shelter are we come, as to the shade from fervent heat. Agni, who glitterest like gold, mighty as one who slays with shafts, are like a bull with sharpened horn. Agni, thou breakest down the forts, whom like an infant newly born devourer in their arms they bear. Men's Agni, skilled in holy rites, bear to the banquet of the gods, the god best finder out of wealth. Let him he seated in his place, in Jatavedas, kindle ye the dear guest, who hath now appeared. In a soft place, the homestead's lord. Harness, O Agni, O thou god, thy steeds, which are most excellent. They bear thee as thy spirit wills. Come hither, bring the gods to us, to taste the sacrificial feast, to drink the draught of soma juice. O Agni of the Bharatas, blaze high with everlasting might. Shine forth and gleam, eternal one, the mortal man who serves the god with banquet, and brings gifts at sacrifice. Lauds Agni may well attract with prayer and hands uplifted. The priest of heaven and earth, true sacrificer. Agni, we bring thee with our hymn, oblation fashioned in the heat. Let these be oxen unto thee. Let these be bulls and kind to thee. The gods enkindle Agni, best slayer of Vritra, first in rank, the mighty one who brings us wealth and crushes down the Rakshasas. And we have that family language representing the stages: the mother stage, the father stage, and the child stage. The mother stage is emotions and relationship stuff. The father stage is the roles and the trainings with skill. And the child stage is puberty onwards, where you have that independent morality and the ability to choose from that. And so what you take or leave from tradition is, up to you at that point and your responsibility. And what you don't just take in this idea, you act it out, right? Hymn 617, Indra, 14 verses. Drink Soma, mighty one, for which, when lauded, thou breakest through the cattle stall, O Indra. Thou who, O bold one, armed with thunder, smotest Vritra with might, and every hostile being, drink it, thou god, who art impetuous victor, lord of our hymns, with beauteous jaws, the hero, render of kind stalls, car-borne, thunder-wielding, so pierce thy way to wondrous strength, O Indra. Drink as of old, and let the draught delight thee. Hear thou our prayer, and let our songs exalt thee. Make the sun visible, make food abundant, slaughter the foes, pierce through, and free the cattle. These gladdening drops, O Indra, self-sustainer, quaff shall augment thee in thy mighty splendor. Yea, let the cheering drops delight thee greatly, great, perfect, strong, powerful, all subduing, gladdened whereby, bursting the firm enclosures, thou gavest splendor to the sun and morning. The mighty rock that compassed in the cattle, ne'er moved, thou shookest from its seat, O Indra. Thou with thy wisdom, power, and works of wonder, thou hast stored the right milk in the raw cow's udders, unbarred from the firm doors for the kine of morning, and with the angarasas set free the cattle. Thou hast spread out wide earth, a mighty marvel, and high thyself propped lofty heaven, O Indra. Both worlds whose sons are gods thou hast supported, young mothers from old time of holy order. Yea, Indra, all the deities installed thee, their one strong champion, in the van for battle. What time the godless was the god's assailant, Indra they chose to win the light of heaven. Yea, e'en that heaven itself of old bent backward before thy bolt in terror of its anger. When Indra, life of every living creature, smote down within his lair the assailing dragon. Yea, strong one, Tvashtar turned for thee, the mighty, the bolt with 1,000 spikes and 100 edges, eager and prompt at will, wherewith thou crushest the boasting dragon, O impetuous hero. He dressed 100 buffaloes, O Indra, for thee, whom all accordant Marutas strengthened. He, Pushan Vishnu, poured forth 3 great vessels to him, the juice that cheers, that slaughters Vritra. Thou settest free the rushing wave of waters, the flood's great swell encompassed and obstructed. Along steep slopes the course thou turnest, Indra, directed downward, speeding to the ocean. So may our new prayer bring thee to protect us, thee well-armed hero, with thy bolt of thunder, Indra, who made these worlds, the strong, the mighty, who never groweth old, the victory giver. So Indra, form us, brilliant holy singers, for strength, for glory, and for food and riches. Give Bharadvaja hero patrons. Indra, Indra, be ours upon the day of trial. With this may we obtain strength, God appointed, and brave sons gladden us through 100 winters. And 6:18, Indra, 15 verses. But before we get into that, we think, okay, God is over the weather, right? As much as we can predict things and maybe, pollute and adds metal into the clouds or something to whatever, God has the final say over weather. But what does the thunder mean aside from that? Glorify him, whose might is all surpassing, Indra, the much invoked, who fights uninjured. Magnify with these songs the never vanquished, the strong, the bull of men, the mighty victor, he champion hero, warrior, lord of battles, impetuous, loudly roaring, great destroyer, who whirls the dust on high, alone overthrower, hath made all races of mankind his subjects. Thou alone, thou alone, hast tamed the Dasyus singly. Thou hast subdued the people for the Arya. In this is it not thine hero exploit, Indra? Declare it at the proper season. For true I deem thy strength is thine, the mighty, thine, O most potent, thine the conquering victor, strong of the strong, most mighty of the mighty, thine driver of the churl to acts of bounty. Be this our ancient bond of friendship with you and with Angarasas, here who speak of Vala. Thou wondrous shaker of things firm, didst smite him in his fresh strength, and force his doors and castles. With holy thoughts must he be called, the mighty, showing his power in the great fight with Vritra. He must be called to give us seed and offspring. The thunderer must he, moved and sped to battle. He in his might, with name that lives forever, hath far surpassed all human generations. He most heroic hath his home with splendor, with glory, and with riches, and with valor, stranger to guile, who ne'er was false or faithless, bearing a name that may be well remembered. Indra crushed Chumuri, Dune, Sambara, Pipru, and Sushna, that their castles fell in ruin. With saving might that must be praised and lauded, Indra, ascend thy car to smite down Vitra. In thy right hand hold fast thy bolt of thunder, and weaken, bounteous Lord, his art and magic, as Agne as the dart burns the dry forest, like the dread shaft burn down the fiends, O Indra, thou who with high deep-reaching spear hast broken, hast covered over mischief and destroyed it. With wealth by thousand paths come hither, Agna paths that bring ample strength. O thou most splendid, come son of strength, o'er whom, invoked of many, the godless hath no power to keep thee distant. From heaven the earth is bruited forth, the greatness of him the firm, the fiery, the resplendent. No foe hath he, no counterpart, no refuge is there from him the conqueror full of wisdom. This day the deed that thou hast done is famous, when thou for him with many thousand others laidest low Kutsa, Ayu, Atithegva, and boldly didst deliver Durvayanna. In thee, O God, the wisest of the sages, all gods were joyful when thou slewest Ahe. When lauded for thyself, thou gavest freedom to the sore afflicted heaven and to the people. In this power of thine, both heaven and earth acknowledge. The deathless gods acknowledge it, O Indra. Do thou what thou ne'er hast done, O mighty worker. Beget a new hymn at thy sacrifices. And the jinn, the fire beings, the Davas, the Asuras, the fairy, they have respite. So in a way, they're sort of deathless. Now, art and magic, well, magic is the art and science of religion, right? So we're talking about something secular and that which is given the spiritual context. But magic, I'm sure it's in the sense of seher, as the Arabic word would be. Ancient Egyptian, you had sahar and seher, so you had both forms of it. The th for the internal and the s for the external form of the evil magic, the working with the heat. But people will, some people will call up the entities, others will act like the substances have their power, or they think that because they spoke it, they'll treat themselves as a god in the ritual. And that's what's meant, because some people are like, well, I don't worship spirits and stuff. I just, use these formulas and I mix these things together. And it's like, well, but I mean, if you worship God and you're, because obviously you're, lighting a fire and other stuff in these other rituals. So there's a distinction. And I kind of messed up there with the one verse. Okay, thou alone. To start off verse 3. Oh, I was thinking there was something thou Indra.